Welcome everyone to the Ordinary Council meeting for the June 2024. Pursuant to Council's Code of Meeting Practice Policy, 2 public forum sessions will be held during the Council meeting. 1 public forum session will be held following the acknowledgement of Broken Hill's mining history to hear submissions from the public on matters listed for consideration at this meeting and to also hear submissions on general matters, and the other public forum session will be held prior to confidential matters and will consider submissions from the public on matters considered by council at this meeting only. All councillors undertook an oath or an affirmation at the beginning of their term of office and declared to undertake the duties of the office of councillor in the best interests of the people of the Broken Hill local government area and the city of Broken Hill, and that they will faithfully and impartially carry out the functions, powers, authorities and discretions vested in them under the Local Government Act 1993 or any other act to the best of their ability and judgment. This council meeting is being streamed live via YouTube and recorded and published via council's website. To those present in the gallery today, by attending or participating in this public meeting, you are consenting to your image, voice and comments being recorded and published. The Mayor and or General Manager have the authority to pause or terminate the stream if comments or debate are considered defamatory or otherwise inappropriate for publishing. Attendees are advised that they may be subject to legal action if they engage in unlawful behaviour. No apologies, no leave of absence. Could we have the prayer, Councillor Boland?
Thank you, Mayor Kennedy. Almighty God, we ask you to invoke your blessing upon this council, direct and prosper our deliberations to the advancement and true welfare of the people of the council area, our state and Australia. Amen.
Thank you. Councillor Gallagher?
I acknowledge the traditional owners of the land upon which we meet, the land of the Winnicali people, and pay our respect to their elders, past, present and emerging.
Thank you. Councillor Jewett?
Thank you, Mayor Kennedy. We take time to reflect, remember and honour the over 800 miners that lost their lives and those that were crippled or maimed on the line of load. We thank the brave miners and their wives who were part of the 1919-1920 strike that lasted over 500 days and delivered a 35-hour working week. Mining is our past and future.
Thank you. For the first public forum session of 15 minutes, we'll consider submissions from the public regarding matters listed for consideration at this meeting and also on general manager matters. The public have been advised through notices in the Barrier Truth, probably no longer, and on council's website to register by 4 p.m. today if they wish to address council during the public forum session. Members of the public who have registered to address council will be given preference, and then if time permits, anyone else present in the public gallery may address council. Speakers are allocated 2 minutes to address council. We had nil registrations. Is there anyone from the public? Mr. Cools? Could you just say your name for the tape as well? Thanks, Bob.
Bob Cools is the name. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I've got a couple of questions to put to council. They're both relating to things in the past to do with the state government. The first one I'll put forward is I'd like to ask what's happening to the mining machinery on the line of load, simply because the council some time ago was trying to get permission from the state government to keep it there, as it is a great tourist attraction. There's always people up there taking photographs of it, and I'm aware that the state government wanted you to shift it, or be shifted. Have you had any feedback from the government regards that, please?
Yeah, look, I don't believe they still do. The general manager will find out exactly what's going on, but Crown Lands are looking at different management options at the lease itself. So we'll be able to get back to you with some information on that at the next meeting anyway.
Thank you very much, because as I said, Mr. Mayor, it is a great tourist attraction. It'd be a shame to lose it. The second one again is pertaining to the state government. Nothing seems to happen quickly unless it's in Sydney. As regards the council some time ago was going to reply to the government to change the rating or valuation system in Broken Hill, as we're under one council, and our rating system was put under about 8 different categories. Did you get any feedback on that matter, please?
Yeah, so what you're actually saying is the way they do the valuation of across the city and the way the city is broken up into
Yeah.
different portions and what it results in is big discrepancy in land values across the city between some areas and other areas.
Yes, there's a
Yeah.
huge difference, isn't there? You were trying to get it.
The general manager will tell you where we're at that.
Thank you, Mayor Kennedy. The council submitted an objection to the Value General late last year and was successful in receiving a citywide rating review. That was carried out late last year, and the Value General agreed that there was disparity across those rating categories and that further work could be implemented. They did do that on a few properties, and they've said that they have agreed that they would look at the entire city's valuations and allow us to have a general revaluation a year earlier. We only met with them on Tuesday, and they are bringing our general valuation forward as at 1 July 2024. So it won't affect this year's rates or what's in the revenue statement for this year, but that will be brought into our rating categories next year. We're hoping that we'll be able to see some corrections there in the disparity across the city. They have agreed as well that they will give it to us earlier than what they normally do. They normally give it to us around February, March, which doesn't allow a lot of time for review before you've actually got to set your own revenue policy for the year.
appreciate
So we should have that by the end of this calendar year, and next year's rating will hopefully have less disparity across the valuations than what we're currently experiencing. Thanks,
Yes,
Mr. Mayor.
Thank
The
you.
idea
General
was to
Manager.
make it a general rate, wasn't it? Sorry,
Yeah, no,
over
that
the
wasn't
whole
able,
city.
that the legislation doesn't allow us to do that. We did want to do that. We had put several different options to the state government.
Yeah,
None of those were really accepted. But what we have been able to do is get a valuation that will hopefully level things out a lot, which will
yes,
reduce some of the higher ratings, and some of those really low ones will catch up. Those really low ones won't go above what the average is because they'll still be below the average. It's just some of the really high ones will drift back towards what the average is, which is a really good outcome.
yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor, because I didn't understand what it was about in the first place, because we all work under the
Yeah.
one council,
Yeah.
not several councils. Thank you again.
Any other members from the public like to speak? No. All right. Minutes for confirmation. Just if whoever moves, if they could just note that the minutes of the ordinary council meeting held Wednesday, the 24th of April, 2024 be amended to include the following question from Councillor Brown in the question for the next meeting section, which was inadvertently omitted. That question be cost of replacement of gateway signs. The Mayor took a question on notice from Councillor Brown for council to be provided with a total cost of replacing the gateway sign on the Wentworth Road, and for the costing to also include the value of the donated items. Moved Councillor Brown, seconded Councillor Gallagher. Any comments on that? Councillor Brown?
No comments, Mr. Mayor.
Yep.
I'm just glad that that's kind of putting right that
Yep.
permission.
No worries. Thank you. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Disclosures of interest, councillors, any disclosures of interest? Nil disclosures of interest, nil mayoral minutes, nil notices of motion, nil rescission motions. I believe verbal report. Deputy Mayor Hickey. From delegates.
Thanks, Mayor Kennedy. Just a couple of things. The fruit fly, you've got a guy coming from South Australia, talk on fruit fly on the 10th. All councillors can, but we'll have a council forum at about, I think it's 4 o'clock on the 10th, and then a public one 6:30 that night. But if we can get as many people to those as we possibly can, this guy has done it at his own time, and he's quite efficient at it. He's got up some very good ideas for Broken Hill, and I think we need to go forward and give him as much support as we can. Thank you on that one. And
do you want to, oh, just Oh, it's just plain old. Do you want to just move a, motion of urgency if you like? We'll just move something to get that in on the record.
Yeah, if we could
Yeah,
just,
yeah. So
do
just
that as a motion that,
Urgency, moved
yeah.
councillor Key, seconded councillor Page. All those in favour? So you just want to move a motion that we actually advertise to the public that they are coming and just let councillors know that there's a briefing. We'll have a briefing on the same day.
Mr Mayor, can I just thank the Deputy Mayor for the getting this into the system, because we haven't had any success knocking over the fruit flies. So I'd like to thank the Deputy Mayor for making these arrangements. Well done.
No worries. So you're moving that there be at the public meeting be advertised, and that'll be on our social media. Yeah.
the second one is just
Oh,
the,
just no, so, any councillors want to speak on that motion? So it's just really, so just in brief, just explain in brief what it is, Deputy Mayor Hickey, because it's important that councillors understand that these people are well informed on fruit fly and what the objective of these meetings will be.
so following, I rang this guy, I heard him on the radio, towards the end of last year, and I rang him and had a good talk to him, and he was talking about sterile male fruit flies. So they breed sterile males. They come to a certain area. They'll release them at a time, thousands of them, and they're produced in Port Augusta. And then they'll bring them and release them, and the females are all satisfied, but they don't produce any young. And his opinion that within 2 years we'd have no more fruit fly in Broken Hill, because we're an isolated area. We're pretty well, we haven't got fruit flies flying in, so they're only brought in on fruit. And if everybody's pretty vigilant, but he has asked that, everybody starts to make sure they pick up their fruit, put them in bins, do all that sort of thing to try and alleviate any help it can get. But these fruit flies should do their thing, and he's going to come and give a full review of the whole thing to us. And then we'd have to find some funding, of course, to get it underway. I did make mention to Minister Moriarty last week at the Shires conference that we would be looking for some funding. And she said, well, just come to us when you've got a better proposition, which we will do. So that's basically it.
Yeah, look, it's really important one. It's an opportunity. This gentleman believes that we should be able to eradicate fruit fly within a couple of growing seasons. So really, really good job. All those in favour? Oh, sorry, councillor Brown.
Just a question really, or an observation. Wouldn't we still need to press for an exclusion zone, to have that in place as well? Otherwise, it's going to depend on people doing the right thing when they bring fruit into the place. We're not going to stop fruit coming into town, even if this is really successful. So I think I still think it would be worth trying to get us to return to, the inspection station just out of town as well.
Yeah, thanks, Councillor Brown. When I spoke to Department of Labor, DPI, Primary Industries before, and that they've taken all those roadblocks off. So there's not even going into Mildura anymore or into Wentworth. And there's fruit fly down there now. They know it. Wentworth, I spoke to Wentworth Shire at the conference the other day. They've got fruit fly. We're not even considered in it because we're not a commercial growing zone, but they won't even put in the commercial growing zone. So we've got absolutely no show of getting that. I know, and I think we probably should send a letter off and ask for it. I agree with you totally. There's no harm in asking, but
just add that to the recommended, to the recommendation.
Yeah.
To the motion. So also councillor Brown, so what these people are really interested in is actually proving to the government that you can still eradicate fruit fly. What the government's more or less said that it's impossible to eradicate. So they got rid of the fruit fly exclusion zones and went with mitigations instead of once there was outbreaks. So what they're really interested in as well is proving that fruit fly still is capable of being eradicated in areas. So they will use a lot of the data that comes out to Broken Hill to prove to both state and federal governments fruit fly eradication in areas is still possible. And if they can prove that, they then believe that the state and federal governments will look again to actually implementing fruit fly exclusion zones, and Australia will be able to go about potentially eradicating fruit fly again. That was one of their big things, wasn't it?
That's correct, Mr. Mayor. And this guy has said he doesn't want to tread on DPI's toes. He's a bit afraid of that in New South Wales because he's South Australian. But I said, look, it's more a Commonwealth thing, and it's funded by the Commonwealth. The fruit fly breeding of these sterile is funded by the Commonwealth. I think they put in 23 million last year towards it. So it being a Commonwealth thing, I don't think he's going to tread on any toes. It's, you know, and it's an Australian problem. It's not just a Broken Hill problem or New South Wales problem. It's an Australian problem, and he believes that they've just about eradicated them from the Riverina, the Riverland, I should say, Riverland. They've had 2 years of releasing these flies, and he thinks by next year they'll have just about done it. Now, if they can do it there, Broken Hill will be a really good example of a singular unit and do it. So, thank you.
Councillor Turley?
No, I was just was curious about that. It is a Commonwealth program, so I don't understand why the states aren't that supportive. But anyway, thank you for that.
Councillor Page?
Yes, if I can just add to that, South Australia has, for a long time frame, like the Deputy Mayor said, they take it very serious. As soon as there's an outbreak, they get those sterile fruit flies into the area, and then they keep making the effort to bowl it over. So South Australia's got a pretty good history of dealing with this fruit fly.
Without a doubt. All those in favour? Carried unanimously.
Thanks, Mayor Kennedy. Second one was the mid-year Western Shires Conference run by Dave Gallagher. Another successful was mid-year one, but it was really successful, Dave, and congratulations on the way he ran that. It was good. I spoke to Minister Moriarty on about our Crown lands, and we got a reply back from her Chief of Staff about that, about the release of those, the compulsory acquisition. The Chief of Staff obviously is not up to date, because the reply that I got this week from his email was the same as he replied back in January, and said, well, that he'd just spoken to Crown Lands, and they said, well, we can do it 2 ways. Well, we know all that. We've done it all, and we've already applied for the compulsory acquisition. The General Manager has been on to him today about that, and just to find out exactly where it's at, because it was just a garbage reply. Thanks on that part. Next thing, I spoke to Sean Barker from Crown Lands about, it's still on the Western Duty, and Sean gave a talk on Crown Lands. He's from Dubbo. I asked him a question about the compensation, which he couldn't answer, but Wentworth then followed on from where I was, and so did Central Darling, and he has agreed now that he will run a forum out here and bring a compensation officer with him to explain us exactly how. Because I said to him, well, as a valuer, I don't see how you can pay twice for a block of land. Either you blokes own it or it's native title, one or the other, but we can't pay twice. And so he's going to organise all that and have a forum out here to go through all that. And Wentworth and Central Darling will be invited to come here, and we'll run it from here. Also spoke to a fellow by the name of Ian George from Telstra regarding our communications tower, which we missed out on previous. And I spoke to the I can't think of his name, a guy from special projects from government, and he said that we were never actually on that list. It was only Wilcannia and Warriner, and we had to apply, but when we applied, it was all over and done, so we didn't get it. They did put the towers up in Warriner and Wilcannia, which they haven't been successful because Telstra and that won't use them, and neither will Voda, but not yet. So nobody else will join in at this stage, because in his opinion, they won't join in, because once they do it once, then they're seen to be sharing, and they don't want to be seen to be doing that, because they'll say it in verbally, but they don't want to share their equipment. They also don't want to share the equipment. So he believes that there will be a federal government push that they will be told they have to, but that's yet to come out. So we'll wait on that. I did speak to Ian George about going back and reviewing our quote that he gave us before. They gave us about a sharing in a tower. Ask if we get that increased a bit, and then we could probably find a player to come in with us. And he was to do that, and should be back to us pretty shortly. He has confirmed that by email to the General Manager that have our conversation. So hopefully that'll go somewhere. Thank you.
Any other councillors that went to the Western Division that would like to comment? Councillor Brown?
Yes, just one thing, Mr Mayor, I spoke to Alistair Lunn, who is the Regional Manager of Transport for New South Wales, about the really critical situation here, which, you know, we share with a lot of places about lack of public transport options within the city. And he said, which was a bit of a surprise to me, that it is relatively easy for people who are qualified in terms of their sort of, you know, license and having the proper sort of vehicle to apply to be a sort of a transport provider, if you like. So I got the impression that you know, that was really difficult for the Ubers and the rideshare people to get approval to do that. But I certainly got the impression from him that it is not really all that difficult to do that. And he was going to chat to David Vance, and my intention was to raise it at the next traffic committee meeting. I'm not sure I'll be able to attend that because I'll be in Canberra, so I'll try and do it remotely. But I just thought it would be good to mention that now, because to me, that's one of the really critical issues, particularly for tourists, but not only for tourists, just for any of our residents without transport. They're pretty much homebound at the moment because of the difficulty of getting taxis. And the rideshare, it's also very difficult. Things like, and I don't know, Councillor Boland may be able to comment on this, but, you know, reduced availability of courtesy buses for clubs and so on. It's a real issue. So I'll certainly follow that up, if not this traffic committee, but in the one after that.
Can we get our council officers to bring, you happy to bring that up? Yeah. Can we also just find out? So it can be provided at the same time. Any other councillor that went to the division conference that would like to speak? Councillor Gallagher, you're in charge there.
Yeah, I just like to thank everyone for coming and for attending the meeting. It was quite informative. We had Minister Moriarty and the other people that mentioned by Deputy Mayor. There was quite a other eventful robust discussion in relation to a lot of matters. But it's good to see that like-minded councillors, there's 7 of them. You know, it's really good to see Dubbo there as well. They're coming in, and Warren actually coming in, paying attention to the Western Division. They're very, very happy that they are invited to these meetings. And it's more like-minded councillors together that we can bring the Western Division up to the high standard like it was before. And I kept on saying it's from Paddy to Plate. It's exactly where it all comes from, the Western Division part of New South Wales. So thanks for the opportunity, and thanks very much for coming.
Thank you, Councillor Gallagher. Councillor Deputy Mayor Hickey.
Yeah, Mayor Kennedy, that's something I'd like just a quick discussion on is that I think every councillor who goes to these things should write a report. I get asked regularly, you know, well, how many of you went, who who had anything to say? But really, I think everyone who goes there should write a report as to what they got out of it, because it costs a lot of money to send people to these conferences. And I don't know, you can't demand it, but
I do believe the policy of council is for reports to be written, and it really is a good idea to write those reports, because some of the councillors that don't attend, it's a really good opportunity to actually see what goes on with those reports. So if we could just make sure that does happen. Councillor Gallagher.
Yeah, I'll ensure that is done, and also I'll ensure that every guest speaker that provided what do they show or call it from exactly what they say, and also PowerPoint. I'll ensure that's distributed to the councillors for this moment.
Thank you, Councillor Gallagher. Deputy Mayor. That's all. Could we have Councillor Deputy Mayor Hickey moved, seconded, Councillor Brown, that the reports be accepted. All those in favour, carried unanimously. We move on to number 14, committee reports. The first committee is the Works Committee. Item number 1 is the draft master plan for the Albert Thurston Mining and Minerals Museum for public exhibition. Do we have a move for that? Moved, Deputy Mayor Hickey, seconded, Councillor Gallagher. Deputy Mayor Hickey.
Yeah, it's fairly straightforward. I read through that and it's good. I think it's important that it goes and we can move forward with that.
Councillor Gallagher. Any other councillor like to speak on that? Look at really, councillor Boland.
Turn your microphone on. Thank you, Mayor Kennedy. Had a read through the report. It's really an impressive facility. I didn't realise how impressive it was when you looked at it through the report, and I certainly think it's got a bright future. There was discussion at the Works Committee around how important this is to Broken Hill and how easy it should be to get some further visitors out there. But having looked through the report, I really didn't realise the space it's sitting on and how much potential that site's got. So it's I think with some implementation of this report, it's got a good future in front of it.
Yeah, look, for me, I think it's a really important one. It's a really important one that the community actually take the opportunity to have a look through that. Only 10% of the visitors that go to the Visitors Information Centre go to the Geo Centre. So there's a big opportunity for council to increase numbers at that facility, because as a council, we want to make sure these things that we do have go as close to break even as possible. I'm sure all councillors are the same. We have no problem spending money on facilities if we can generate some income to make sure that they cost the community less. So this goes some way towards doing that. The master plan itself looks magnificent. The Geo Centre, I think, is something that as a community we do need to grow. We are a mineral and mining city, and we need to showcase that. One of the best parts of that, well, one that I like, is the mining cottage. Most people wouldn't understand that that's an actual cottage. So really important that our history does continue to be developed and we can continue to promote that. It might not mean so much for the people that live here, mainly because we don't know about it, not that we don't care, but for tourists, they're the sorts of things that people do go away with a good impression of the city. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Policy in general, item number 1 is September, October ordinary meetings, council report. We have a mover for that. Seconded. Councillor Jewett, Councillor Hickman.
Pretty common sense that the government say that the declarations won't be out to the election from them, so there's no point in going forward. But as written.
Yeah, just so everyone does understand it, it's September meeting. The council won't be actually, will not be put out to who they are until after that date. So we're delaying the October committee meetings. Councillor Tilley.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. I'm just, I might have missed it, but is council rolling out a program to inform the community about how to nominate for council and about the elections?
Yeah, just the Electoral Commission's online trainings. Any other questions? All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Item number 2, minutes of the Audit and Risk Improvement Committee meeting. Councillor Allgate, seconded. Seconded. Councillor Boland, Councillor Allgate.
I think it's a good report, Mr. Mayor, but I still am concerned that there's no, there will be little involvement in the future by the elected members. Elected by notice in the comments in the minutes that the chairman has invited any councillor to attend that wishes to attend. That's a bit different to having an input if in fact the council wants to have input. There's just one item that I would ask through you, Mr. Mayor. On page 111, page 6 of the minutes it is, just above item 3, the second last paragraph, it says prior to the next item being considered, Mr. Mathers referred to the significant litigation matter that council is currently involved in, and asked the general manager to outline what learnings the council has gained from the experience of this case. And that when the time is right, it would be good for the committee to receive a report on the council's learnings from the experience. The general manager agreed to provide the committee with the report in due course. Could I ask that the council get that report as well? And I don't know whether it's appropriate now to ask generally what learnings, we've experienced as, following the outcome of the it's not finalised, the outcome to date. And a lot of people are still wondering just how much it's cost. Now, I know it's a confidential matter, but the sooner that matter can come to the open public knowledge, the better. And but I'm just, first of all, I'm just wondering about the experience. What experience we've got from that exercise?
You'd also like an update where we're at the moment.
Well, basically that's what.
Yeah.
they've asked.
Yeah, just.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, so I mean, did you want me to go through the learnings or just where we're up to?
Well,
I'm happy to wait for the report.
yeah.
Yeah, so the current status of the case is still council making the claim against Redenbach Legal for the amount incurred for legal fees along with the final settlement amount. That's still going through the court proceedings. We did have mediation late last year that was unsuccessful, and there's also been another offer made to try and settle it prior to going to full court proceedings in that matter. That offer hasn't been accepted at this stage, but it does protect council's interests in regards to any final adjudication by the court. But that's still on foot at the moment. We're hoping that will be finalised in the coming months. Council's has provided its defence and is waiting on the other party being Redenbach Legal to provide their defence and then obviously proceed through the court process. So hopefully it's finalised as quickly as possible in that regard, as we want to keep the legal fees as low as possible. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, General Manager. Deputy Mayor Hickey.
Thanks, Mayor Kennedy. Just to answer one, Councillor Allgate, I questioned the chairman about the new rules, and he said, look, although that's in and we don't get to vote, he still welcomes the councillors to come to the meeting and have it and play part of it, because he said, as he said, we know better about our town than anybody else, and he would certainly welcome us there and welcome our input. And at the end of the day, it's only their recommendation that comes back and council makes the final decision anyway. Thank you.
Exactly. Yeah, so just on that matter, I think what we've all learnt is when dealing with lawyers, they cost a lot of money. That's one thing that I think we're all learning from, without a doubt.
The longer it goes, the more it costs.
Yeah. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Draft customer service framework. Have a move for that, item 3.
Recommendation.
Move councillor Allgate, seconded. Councillor Boland, councillor Allgate.
Any comment, Mr. Mayor? There's plenty of background given to each of the drafts. I'm not one to comment on that.
Yeah. Any other, Councillor Brown?
Yeah, something, I did mention this at the committee meeting, but I don't know whether exactly fits here, but I just have some concern at the slow uptake of people subscribing to the community portal. I think it should be a really, really useful thing for people to do and make it, much easier for people to report various things around town. It's maybe not precisely part of this, but I thought it would be worth a bit of a push to get people. I know it's on the web. I had a look at the website today. I know it's, front and center of the website, that assumes that people are, you know, regularly looking at the website anyway. I think we can do more to publicise the existence of the community portal and let people know, you know, what it's used for and how it can make their lives easier.
So it has been put in the newsletter, Councillor Brown, but we'll put it in the newsletter again. But it's one of those things, until people start using it, they don't understand how much advantage it has. And it allows people, if they do put in a complaint, to eventually be able to monitor it in real time. It's not at that stage yet, but once it does, it means that if you put in a complaint that you want a tree cut down, for example, you'll be able to see that council's come out and had a look at it. Next stage is that it could be put in the works order or whatever. So there's a real opportunity there, and we really need to start getting people to use it so they actually understand the advantage of it. And then what will happen, not so many of those things will fall through the cracks where they're not getting a phone call back, that sort of thing. Councillor Brown?
Yeah, just a question following on what you just said. When is it likely that it'll be fully operational, you know, so that people will be able to follow through their complaint and so on?
I'll take that on notice, Councillor Brown. It's an integration of about 3 systems at the moment. So just some background, we're integrating our asset management system through to our corporate system, which is to improve the customer's interaction and enable our field staff to actually just take photos and make a lot easier, which then will feed into that portal. So we've taken a step to the side to improve the efficiency with our asset management prior to making it public. If we had made it public with our previous system, we've been very clunky. So we have taken a step back, which has delayed that, but I'll come back to you with the timeframe. Thanks, Mr. Mayor.
So would it be worth waiting before we advertise it again? Because you want people to have a good experience with that, and perhaps we should just wait till we get it all up and running rather than encourage people to use it and then they're not getting the benefit and then they go away. Once you lose a customer, it's hard. So perhaps we'll wait for several as well to council's up here to wait and make sure it's all up and running before we. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Item number 4, the investment report for May. Councillor Boland, move that way. Seconded. Councillor Allgate, Councillor Boland.
Mr. Mayor, just having a look through it, interest rates, so probably will be going up shortly. Inflation coming in at 4%, high again today, could be another interest rate rise, and I was very happy to see how much cash we've got in high interest bearing accounts coming out, averaging out at about 5.15%, which is above inflation, and that could be going up a little bit further. So very happy to see all that money sitting there earning the interest and the portfolio being well balanced.
Very good outcome. Any other speakers? All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Item number 5 is request for funding towards the construction of the Dr. Julie Zana Accommodation Centre for patients at the Mildura Health Icon Cancer Centre. Move Deputy Mayor Hickey, seconded. Councillor Allgate, Deputy Mayor.
Thanks, Mayor Kennedy. Yes, not real sure whether 10,000, I wasn't at that meeting, the figure of 10,000. I had a phone call I was down there at the opening of that centre 12 months ago. Now they're building the accommodation to go with it. It's a very, very important centre for Broken Hill. It means that our patients from here can go down and have ray treatment, radiotherapy down in Mildura and back here 5 days a week. They can get back here for weekends, whereas, I had 30 doses in Adelaide 2 years ago. And it's difficult to get back from Adelaide for a weekend. You can't. Mildura you can. And they're going to have this accommodation. It's a huge thing. I did say to them that, our budget's just been expended for this year. And this time, it's something that you really have to budget for to give a decent donation. And I said that we have a $10,000 in this.
That's bronze sponsorship. We went with the bronze sponsorship, which is $10,000.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
And we went with that because we want to show that we support it. It's not so much the amount of money, it's the fact that even though we're 300 kilometres away, we want to show that we do support that because a lot of Broken Hill people do use it. So it's more a gesture that shows that we, and it meets the bronze, level, which means they do write it up as you're supporting it. If you're any lower, you don't. We wanted to make sure that people do know we do support it.
Thanks, Mayor Kennedy. I most certainly support that.
Any other speakers on that? No. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. 15 is further reports. Item number 1 is correspondence report reclassification of the modified Monash model MMM3 to MMM6. Do we have a mover for that? Moved councillor Boland, seconded councillor Brown, councillor Boland.
Thank you, Mayor Kennedy. Any very, very important one. We know the changes happening to aged care in Broken Hill. It's good to see the politicians are there. They're aware of it. I'm sure we'll keep after fighting for it. But that change will mean a lot to aged care in Broken Hill, and obviously with the changes coming in place with our biggest provider will help those changes along the way. So hopefully we'll get the outcome we want soon.
Yeah, look, so in the correspondence, a little bit disappointing with the way it was read about the formula used to get the classification. It said in there that Broken Hill was MM3, location surrounded by MM6. We probably are closer to what Alice Springs are, and that's our argument that we put forward. I think the other one is Port Augusta. So similar sorts of isolation. So we've argued that. But if people have a look also in there, they do mention that the Queensland Southern Cross Care is looking to helping out in Broken Hill. That's a really big chance for Broken Hill. It will give scales of performance. So they're much bigger, much more adapt. They have more employees, which they'll be able to share. What was noticeable really quickly from their visit is the importance of having retirement type villages in Broken Hill, similar to Shorty O'Neill Village. So people can actually get some level of care, in-home care, because in-home care is really important. You keep people in their home for as long as possible. The problem is when they live by themselves, it's almost impossible to have in-home care work because you actually need probably 6 or 7 people that are visiting them for in-home care to work. So, but within a retirement type village, you can have a couple of nurses on a facility of say 40 independent living where there is home care packages and they just go around from house to house. There's also common halls where people get to mingle. So really good. And people just want to think just how far ahead we were with Shorty O'Neill Village when that was working. It went to a higher care facility, which made it not as usable friendly as it would have been. But this is where nursing homes are going. So keep them in those keep people in those retirement type village, whether it's rent, lease or buy, and then move them as they progress into the aged care facilities. So in Broken Hill, people go into aged care facilities probably well earlier than other places, simply because the services are not there. So the average time that a person in Broken Hill stays in an aged care facility is higher than what it would be in another place where they have better services outside of them. All those in favour? Councillor Page.
Yes, Mr Mayor, I'd like to thank you and the other councillors for making the effort in regard to this issue. It's heartbreaking to see the federal government are prepared to treat us people in the outback with contempt. There's lots of other words I'd like to use. It's a bloody disgrace because you live in the outback. We as councillors, the mayor and the deputy mayor and everyone else have to, put pressure on people that should be doing the job and they're not. So it's heartbreaking. I feel sorry for the old people in Broken Hill, and I personally don't intend to go in an aged care facility unless someone puts me in one. But no, it's a big issue, and I'm really glad that the council's pushing the issue because it's unless we push, they'll treat the people in the outback terrible.
We have people leaving Broken Hill for aged care now. We haven't for many years. We now have people that are no longer being able to stay in Broken Hill because of the new regulation virtually that were brought in. What makes it worse is because we are categorised as an MM3, we don't actually have the funding, and the actual facilities that are here in Broken Hill are actually not financially viable as they are, which means that we could potentially end up with lots of people not being able to get the care they need. So yes, something has to change, Councillor Page. And as a council, all we can do is really highlight it. The government needs to come in. They need to change the system so it offers more money, which makes all those facilities long-term financially viable. So we don't have people that are born, bred and lived in Broken Hill all their life move. We also are able to attract new people to Broken Hill. There's a lot of young people don't move to Broken Hill because their families, they can't bring their elderly parents here to Broken Hill where they'll be able to be looked after long term. So a lot of people end up leaving Broken Hill to go back with elderly parents. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. We move to item number 2, which is the delivery of the operational plan, inclusive of the statement of revenue and policy and draft schedule of fees and charges.
Move the recommendation with the addition of item 5, that item 5 be added.
Yep.
Mr. Mayor, and that item 5 read that the council approve the increases to statutory fees and charges as they are notified to council by the 1st of the 7th, 2024.
Thank you.
To cater for any legislative changes and whatever that might occur.
Do we have a seconder for that? Councillor Boland, Councillor Page, you wanted to add something? It's fees and
Yes,
schedule.
Mr. Mayor, I was just looking for the item. I'd like to thank you again for putting this opportunity forward. The pensioners that go down to the swimming pool, my sister rings me every day and tells me that we should have a concession. I'd like to add to the proposal that we have a concession fee of $3.50 per pensioner, Mr. Mayor, if you don't mind. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. We got that. Yep. You happy with that, Councillor Allgate?
Certainly. I thought there was a concession.
No, so there might be for the passes, but there's actually no concession for pensioners at the aquatic centre. I think for the aquatic, the hydro, yep, but not for things. So thank you, Councillor Page. Very good pickup. You'd like to speak on that, Councillor Page? I'm sure it's one that you'd love to.
Mr. Mayor, I hear it
talk
every day. So once again, thank you for your interest in making it happen. Thank you.
No worries. Any speakers against that? No. Any further speakers for that? All those in, Councillor Allgate?
As the mover, I'd like to just comment that I think the council's done pretty well in terms of setting the rates to, the rate cap, the rate peg was 4.9%. The majority of councils would generally adopt the full 4.9%. The Broken Hill City Council adopted in option 3 to go to 4.5%. And generally the fees that the movement in fees is not great, which is what we should be all hoping for, particularly in terms of the residential rate. I think we've done pretty well. The business rate also, and it's cost us $70,000 odd to not go with the full rate, but that $70,000 has been made up for by the fact that we're doing what the community would want us to do, I believe.
Yeah, and as was explained during our meeting, if we do get a low rate peg in the next couple of years, we're able to add that extra 0.4 on, which will then catch up that money Everyone's doing it hard at the moment and any little savings is really important. The added amendment from councillor Page is just to show it might only be a couple of dollars, but the couple of dollars is a big amount of people for a big amount of money for people that use the pool regularly that are on a low fixed income. So it's only small amounts of money, but it's the thought, I suppose, which really means a lot to people, that we as a council, we acknowledge the hardship that is going on in the community, and as councillors, we're just doing our little bit. Might not make much impact, but it certainly shows that we do care about what's going on. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Item number 3, adoption of the draft long-term financial plan. Councillor Boland. You move that? Long-term financial.
I'll move it.
Councillor Allgate. Seconded Councillor Boland. Councillor Allgate.
But once again, I think the draft delivery plan is a good one. The fact that we can now see that we will break even by 2025 is a real feather in the council's cap. Given that back in 2014 we were warned, given that in 2014 we were warned by the authorities that budgeting for deficit budgets were unsustainable, and we've been doing that for many, many years. And gradually over the last 10 years that we've sort of got into it a little bit more, in a bit more detailed fashion. And in particular, in the time that the new council has been enforced, we have got the books back into a break-even situation. And in the future, it looks like a strong possibility, in spite of all the negatives that are floating around in terms of the inflation and the CPI and all the rest of it, and the cost of borrowing money and so on. It looks like we'll be in the black from now on in some time with the luck.
Yeah. Councillor Brown.
Yeah, just in the interest of accuracy, the previous council was on track to break even by 2026 or 2024. Councillor Allgate.
Yeah.
I do accept what you say about some, earlier budgets, but we were well on track to break even.
I've mentioned through you, Mr. Mayor, I've mentioned that during the past 10 years, there's been, a concerted effort, but particularly and specifically in this last 2.5 years.
I can say right now, Councillor Allgate, going back to when I was first elected in 99, all long-term financial plans said we we're going to break even 5 years' time. This is the council that did it. This council. We broke even. We didn't break even this year. We have a surplus of $600,000. That is a great effort. This is the council that did it. We've had council since 99 attempt to do it. There's always been talk of doing it. Back in 99, we actually saved a lot of money over the period that Councillor Page was mayor. So there was a concerted effort back then as well. And we always had long-term financial plans that showed going into the black. This council put it in the black. And it is something that all the councillors in this room and the staff that work for council can hang the hat on. That's a big achievement. This isn't about criticising previous councils or anything like this. This is about just saying we have done a good job as a council to be in the financial position we are, and to have a surplus this year of $600,000 at the end of the year, even though it is because of additional funding we got. It was the additional funding that we got because we've done so well up until then. We have a surplus budget, and in the future, that surplus budget, I hope, continues to go that way, and it'll be the next council that has to deliver those continued surpluses. But we as a council did achieve a surplus budget. Plenty of councils are forecasted in their long-term plans, but this council achieved it. So I think it's amazing. Councillor Boland.
Thank you, Mayor Kennedy. Now I'm on the right item. I was reading the wrong part of the reports and got myself a bit lost, but I'm back on track now. And it must be said, any organisation in the current economic climate that's posting profits or surplus, I should say, should be congratulated, because it's difficult out there and it takes a lot of management and skill set from the top down to really keep things ticking along in the current environment. But I just bring attention to the asset renewal, which is another very important part of any organisation. I can certainly talk from personal experience what happens to an organisation when you let your assets completely deteriorate. It's not pretty, and to see that this council has focused so much on asset renewal, and there's so much more in the pipeline, that by, I think, looking at the report, by mid-2027, we'll be back on a scale where the capital investment will keep up with the deterioration of the assets. So that must be noted as well as quite an achievement for this council.
Yeah, look, I couldn't agree more. You hear a lot about it in the community, what's actually happening at the moment, and the amount of investment the council is doing into the community really is having positive feedback from a lot of people. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Item number 4 is the proposed amendments to the Silver City Energy Storage Project environmental impact statement. We have a mover for that. Moved Councillor Allgate, seconded Councillor Jewett. Councillor Allgate. Yeah. Microphone, Councillor Allgate.
The organisation involved, Hydrostore, they've done everything possible to meet all of the requirements, and have got noise and light to an absolute minimum. And as far as I'm concerned, the fact that storage facility is in a valley surrounded by hills, I really have a great deal of difficulty understanding how the light or noise could make a difference to those people at the astronomy location, the old RFDS transmission base. I mean, I went there with the mayor and the general manager and Hydrostore people, and covered all the aspects of the actual, the intended, facility construction, and the lighting that seems to be a problem to some. From what I learned that day was most of it's not bright white lighting, it's the yellow gold type lighting, and most of it's indoors. And indoor lighting is not going to be a problem to anybody. And the amount of outdoor lighting is absolutely minimal once the thing is up and running. So I just don't understand the significance of that particular complaint. Nevertheless, the complainants obviously think they have an axe to grind, and obviously they feel that they might be impinged by one of these, either the sound or the light. But the benefits that are to be reaped by the community are unbelievable, and this is a once in a lifetime opportunity that this council has grabbed hold of, and as far as I'm concerned, the council, in promoting it, should be quite happy to do so.
Any other speakers? Yeah, just so it be noted, so their proposed amendments actually reduces the footprint of the site, not increases it. So it's actually about making it smaller, so it's less impact on in the environment. What they're also asking for is an increase in construction timeframe to a 24-hour, but anything outside daylight hours, other than a few concrete slabs, etc., will be underground, where it will have zero impact on the surface. So that's what we're voting on today, is a letter of support for their changed planning. The project itself is really important to Broken Hill. It will create and bring in hundreds of millions of dollars and create a lot of employment, but also put Broken Hill on the map as one of the biggest standalone electricity producers and storages in the world. So they're the sorts of things that can bring all sorts of industry to your town. They can also bring many people that are studying those sorts of things. So the opportunities that it brings in go well beyond the storage facility itself. All those in favour? Councillor Orgate?
Just
Yep.
going to add the comment too, Mr Mayor, that that facility will allow electricity that's unable to be used now to be actually used. And that in
will.
itself is a bonus.
For sure. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Item number 5 is Broken Hill Festival request to review town square work schedule. Do we have a mover for that? Move Councillor Boland, seconded. Councillor Allgate. Councillor Boland.
Thank you, Mayor Kennedy. Just reading through this, I think this is a really good compromise. It's a great festival that brings lots of people to town, but we've got to get this started. But obviously, there'll be penalties delaying construction. So I think this is a good outcome for all parties involved, and looking forward to the festival being a success again, and working together with the organisers as we have for many years so far.
Any other speakers? Look, not ideal for the Hill Festival. They've made it quite clear they prefer to use the town square. Unfortunately, hindsight from councillors, we moved it. I didn't think to think about the Hill Festival. I wish I did, and not that it probably would have changed the time frame, but I do wish that I had actually went to them and said, look, this is being planned, so you need to get alternatives in place sooner. That didn't happen. So as a council, I think we need to rectify it the best we can. They have put in correspondence to council that stated that it would cost them considerably extra, around $10,000 extra, to operate on the other side of Argent Street, opposite the town square. That additional cost, council has recommended and moved by Councillor Boland that we do that. I think it's only just that we do it. It's not ideal for the Hill Festival, but at least we're doing what we can. And I'd also like it noted, if Councillor Boland, that council will add any additional help that they need in doing that, to please reach out to the council.
That's fine. That's a great addition.
Seconder, happy with that? Any other
I'll
speakers?
just ask a question, Mr Mayor.
Yes, Councillor Orgate?
In the past, has that organisation given the council a profit and loss statement?
No.
When you've asked on submission of official quotes and costings, one wonders, I mean, $10,000 is $10,000 of community money, community funds. Perhaps we should be, well, I'm just thinking aloud, we should be sure that they actually need that.
So in the future, you'd like that in there, Councillor Orgate?
Well, often organisations ask for a profit and loss statement at the end. And I think it's more important for a council to ask for that, because we're using ratepayers' money to give to that function.
So the money had been donated without that requirement beforehand. This
But I
money
don't see
is-
anything wrong with having that requirement.
No, I'm just saying in the future we'll ask for that. They might not want to provide it.
Well,
But
I think, yeah, well, I think it's a good move, because, if people ask, if ratepayers ask, how we're giving money here, there and everywhere, do they need it? Why?
Yeah.
And we can answer that.
yeah, no, I'm not disagreeing with you, that's for sure. Just that in the future, we'll make sure that that's included in the initial funding. Any others, Councillor Turley?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm just curious, and I might have missed it. Is there a proposal where they will hold their event on the Saturday and the drag race on the Saturday then as an alternate site. But where is council proposing?
So close off from Gawler Place to Argent Street, so on the opposite side of Argent Street.
Oh, okay.
Yep, so closing off that area, so it shouldn't affect the distance to Argent Street or anything like that. What it does affect is the stage, so they have to hire a stage. So some of the things that are written in the letter probably don't really hold up because it's actually just on the other side of Argent Street. Probably not as nice, well, it's not as nice as the square itself, but I'm sure council will do all they can to make it as nice as possible for the Hill Festival. Any other speakers? No, all those in favour? Carried unanimously. Item number 6, minutes of the Broken Hill Education Working Group meeting held 12th of June 2024. Do we have a move? Councillor Brown, seconded. Councillor Jewett. Councillor Brown, would you like to speak to that?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I think it's a shame that we haven't resolved the issue of participation by the education authorities, the actual, the workers in education. I think that means that whatever discussions are kind of conducted without real sort of inside knowledge, and I think some of the matters that we discussed about the importance of finding out, what the current state of play within the education department is pretty important. So I certainly look forward to hearing, the outcome of any discussions that you may have with the authorities concerned.
Yep, so we did meet with Peter Macbeth. He did answer some of the questions that he knew from our committee meeting as far as the project reference group. So there has not been a project reference group formed yet. General manager and myself made it quite clear that we'd like a representative of council on that. We've nominated you, Councillor Brown, if you re-stand. I think it's important that it's someone that knows about teaching. We put you forward because you were involved with the Williama High School from its inception, worked as a teacher. We explained the importance of making sure the building actually, when it's done, takes into account things like what is important to our environment, so that you don't end up with another building that isn't purpose fit for Broken Hill, as opposed to what might be acceptable on the coast where it's not so hot or not so cold. So they're the sorts of things that we did bring up. So yes, Councillor.
Yes, I would absolutely support that. And I think council's on pretty firm ground here, given the amount of public consultation we've done in the past over various buildings. I mean, I think particularly at the library, but other buildings as well have been on public display. We've sought comments from people about, what they want to see in the building. So I think the state government probably has a bit to learn about real community consultation. I think we're absolutely, within our rights to push that. Whether or not that's their general practice, I don't know whether they do that elsewhere. But I think it's really important to get, to have that
I do think we need,
detailed consultation.
I do think we need to reinforce that, Councillor Brown. So if you would just add that we send correspondence off from our council, that project reference group is really important to be part of. So yeah, happy to add that.
Oh, certainly, yeah.
The seconder, happy to add that. Councillor Turley.
Mr. Mayor, was there any indication about a time frame for the removal of the high school and the affected area?
Towards the end of the year.
Towards the end of the year.
Probably a school build by about the beginning of 27.
27. A long time.
A long time. Yes, that's not confirmed. That they're guesstimations, not any actual confirmation of what's actually happening. So they haven't even got a project reference route going yet, so we're looking at a considerable amount of time. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Item number 7, local traffic committee meeting number 447 held on Tuesday, 4th of June. Moved Councillor Brown, seconded Councillor Jewett. Councillor Brown?
Yes, there's something I'd like to ask the advice of Mr. Howard, if I may, Mr. Mayor. I think there might be a misprint here in recommendation number 3. I think that referred to at the meeting there was a discussion or at a previous meeting about a traffic incident that took place a few months ago that people might remember, but it was a corner of Blend and Oxide.
Yes.
There. I think that was what was intended. So I just asked that be changed. And people might, I know there was quite a bit of public comment about that, and people said it's a nasty intersection because of the way the traffic obscures the view. I mean,
you can't have a Blend Argent intersection.
No.
So yeah.
No.
Yeah.
But it means just to clarify, it does mean that Blend Oxide one, that is as a result of that accident, there was a collision there because it is a difficult intersection. So, and I hope this will be a good way to sort that out. It'll mean that traffic will come closer up to the intersection, get a better view around the parked cars there. So I thought that. I think that's a good outcome, and it's pretty cost effective. It's not going to be a major change there.
Would you like comment from Mr. Howard on that, Councillor Brown?
Yes.
You happy to comment?
Through you, Mayor. Yeah, that's correct. That's a mistake from our end. That's Oxide and Glen Street, but as Councillor Brown has said, so we'll bring those upon approval. We'll bring the transverse give-way line forward, so to give better vision around that intersection.
And that'll have a fair bit of improvement because you can come out a lot further and see around the cars version of their angle park in those areas.
Yes, definitely, and it'll add to the works that were completed 2 years ago in those curb extensions to allow cars before safety and pedestrians.
Anything else, Councillor Brown?
I suppose just to highlight the fact that again, Mr. Howard's going to be very busy doing an overall sort of concept plan just to respond to all the comments and the requests that have been made since Williama sort of moved into since the high schools are sharing that one campus. So I think, I'm confident that that'll address all of those parking and access and, crowding at the end of the school day issues.
I see that the denied a request for allocated customer parking, that would have opened up a can of worms. In Argent Street. At number 5.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, I know.
It's about a long-term.
Yeah,
parking
some
in
things
Argent
create
Street.
precedents,
Yeah,
let's just say.
Yeah.
Everyone wants one, whatever it is.
I could imagine they would. Any other comments? All those in favour? Declare them carried. Minutes, the Friends and Flora, Councillor Brown. Seconded, Councillor Turley. Councillor Brown. All good. I still say that's our best committee, so well done. Or one of our best committees. I won't go to say that, but there's a lot of work done in that committee, and it really is a good committee. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Item number 9, action list, Councillor Gallagher.
Yes, I'll move that way.
No green, yellow.
Far too much amber, a little bit of green there. Definitely no red, which is good.
That's good. Councillor Allgate, second. Yeah. Any other comments? No. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Questions taken on notice from the previous council meeting. Do we have a mover for that? Move councillor Gallagher, seconded councillor Brown. Councillor Gallagher, you'd like to speak to that?
No, no.
Councillor Brown?
Um,
Yep.
Yes, just a question. We moved at the beginning of the meeting that we sort of amend those minutes, but
Yep.
that question did ask for an estimate of the cost of items that were sort of donated or provided, and that's not in this. So I just had a couple of questions about that. I understand that there was no cost involved in the acquiring the design from Ms. Spicer, and that I assume that would be classed as a donation because it wasn't exactly the same design that was originally used for the original competition. I know that there were some, so I assume that would be a cost there that would be classed as a donation for that. And does that, the amount there, does that cover the cost of removing the existing sign? So that's in that 30,000. So that was done in that one operation by Fabtech. That correct? Did they make any sort of donation, Fabtech, when they did that?
Did it at their cost, so it probably out of pocket considerably as far as not making any money while they were doing that.
Right. So
So they haven't spent money, but they've lost money by not making any money at all on a sort of thing.
right. So you'd have to say that.
So they're
it's,
probably about
an
20 or 30,000.
underestimate.
Yeah, 20 or 30,000, probably less than what it would cost if you got someone to do it.
Right. So it's probably around closer to say 50,000 for that cost of that. Yeah. Can I just ask what actually has happened to the signs? I had another look at those in the committee minutes, but it didn't say what actually was decided.
They're at the yard, but just you go. Yeah, so they're at the yard, but I, for example, was at the Junction Mine only a couple of days ago having photos done. There's some places that those signs would actually look really, really nice. There's a great sunset at the Junction Mine. There's also an open area there, so not necessarily line of load or whatever, but there is opportunity. So if councillors do come up with any ideas other than some of the ones that have been suggested at the Gateway Sign Committee. So there was also a suggestion across the road from the tourism centre, the line of load restaurant area, so it faces into the sunset. Another one was the Monday Plain, which is Lookout, which is privately owned. But so there is a few different things that have been suggested. The advantage of that is that people will be able to go up close and get photos, and then the signs will look nice. So if anyone does think of that, but at the moment they're at the yard, safely stored flat the way they're meant to, so they're not being damaged, or it's not being damaged. Councillor Page.
Yeah, we are the Silver City, and I went out and had a look at the one on the Mildura Road. I personally think that they could be painted silver. No one would miss them by being silver, and I think it'd really project the story and the image.
Well, there's still a few more signs that we will make over time, Councillor Page. So all suggestions are definitely taken into account. There's potential for other funding opportunities in the future, and we'll see what we can do. Any other queries or questions from the questions taken on notice? No. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Item number 17, questions for the next meeting. Do we have any questions from councillors? No. We have a mover to public session, forum session. The second public forum session of 15 minutes duration will consider submissions from the public regarding matters that were considered by council at this meeting only. Speakers are allocated 2 minutes each. Do we have any speakers? Yes. Ms O'Connor, Roz, you want to speak? Hey? Yeah, jump up. Yeah, yep. Just say your name for the recording. Thanks, Roz.
Unaccustomed as I am to public speaking, ex-school teacher, went to school, same school as Marion Brown, Hobart High School, long time
Right,
ago.
okay.
Miss
There you
Stewart, I think I used to teach you, didn't I? Well, you were at Hobart High School, Broken Hill High School? Yes. Anyway, I'm going to ask questions about the education because I have spoken to many parents from Williama High, Broken Hill High, and they are against having two schools. A lot of the parents said they prefer all on the one spot where Broken Hill High School is, all in the one. There's 600 Williama High School students, I believe, and the parents I've spoken to casually at football or netball have said they would prefer be all on the one campus, and that would save a whole lot of money building one down near Williama, but I know a lot of people would like that down there, but maybe suggest a questionnaire for the students. Have you
We're
done
go-
that?
We're going to actually have a public meeting about it, so people will get the opportunity to put their opinions forward.
But what about a written questionnaire you hand to the students and ask, and parents ask them? That's just suggestion.
One of the problems with questionnaires is making sure you're providing the information. For example, the advantages of two sites is when students do fight, whatever, they're able to move schools, same as teachers. So teachers, when they fall out with people in there, also parents. So there's been cases that council have looked into where there's been amalgamations of schools and it hasn't had the outcome that they thought it was going to have. It actually had.
But originally it was only one school, 2,000 people, one school, all on the one
Yeah,
site.
yeah. So what I'm saying is with the questionnaires, you don't always get the results that you want from putting out questionnaires. So
Yeah.
with a public meeting, you get the people there that are interested. So for example, you'd be able to come along there and say, look, I think there should be one school. So you might have a group of, say, 100 people there, very big representation of the community. So they get to hear the arguments for and against.
Sure.
Then you move motions. If you, for example, if that group of people said, look, we believe there should be only one school, that's what was passed, then it's probably pretty reflective of the community in general. If you get a group of 100 people and they listen to the arguments for and against, and then come up with what's going on, you'll probably find that it's probably
Sure.
reflective as opposed
Okay,
to.
I just thought I'd mention what
Yeah.
I've heard from different
Yeah,
parents.
yeah. So yeah, and I've heard that, but I've also heard people that are strongly opposed to one school. So I hear a vast difference.
I know if you go up
things.
there, the traffic is unbelievable. And
Yeah,
It's, they're very cutthroat, you know, William is this side and you're not allowed over there, and then
Yeah.
Broken Hill High's on the other side. They hate each other.
yeah.
It's
So
really
there's
intense.
so there's for and against arguments for everything, and the
that's
best
right.
way to get it is get people together and put all those arguments, like your arguments forward. There used to be 2,000 people, also classes of 35 odd people in a class, probably not the best
No.
chance of learning and that sort of thing. So council is looking to hold a public meeting at the end of August, but we will advertise it, and people that believe there should be one school should come along and put their arguments forward.
Okay.
Thank you. Any other? No. So confidential matters, there's 3 confidential matters. They shouldn't take long if people do want to stay around. So can we have a motion to move into closed session? Move councillor Page, seconded councillor Brown. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you. thank you everyone for staying around. The general manager will move out the resolutions that were passed in closed session.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Council resolving confidential report one, Broken City Council report number 86/24 dated June 6, 2024. Request for quotation, supply of one waste facility tipper. Council resolved one, the Broken Hill City Council report number 86/24 dated June 6, 2024 be received. Two, that council purchased the plant package tendered by Johnson's Truck and Coach Services Proprietary Limited for the total price of $298,000, including GST. Three, the council proceed with public auction to dispose of council's current waste facility tipper, and if unsuccessful, proceed with sales and scrap. Item two, tender report number 3/24 dated June 6, 2024. Tender 24/3, tender report, airport fire system, pipe replacement and hydrants. Council resolved one, the Broken Hill City Council tender report number 3/24 dated June 6, 2024 be received. Two, the Broken Hill City Council award tender T24/3, request for tender airport fire system, pipe replacement and hydrants to A&A Innovations Proprietary Limited, trading with Anthony Robinson Plumbing and Regional Fire Protection as the principal contractor for the airport fire system, pipe replacement and hydrants for a total of price of $770,000, $201, excluding GST. Three, that the general manager and or mayor be authorised to sign the tender contract and fix the seal of council if required. And four, that the general manager be authorised to negotiate directly with the successful tenderer A&A Innovations Proprietary Limited, trading with Anthony Robertson Plumbing and Regional Fire Protection for any amendments to the project works because the design works being carried out for the airside pavements that may affect any part of the scope of works under this tender request at a later date within the total approved budget of the project as listed within the report. Thanks, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, General Manager. Thank you, everyone. This brings the council